Speaking of shilling, did you guys know you can go to terminal.shop right now and you can purchase some artisan blend coffee while supplies last? Okay, chat. Hello. You should be able to hear us now. How many teachers are on the screen? There we go. Cool. I can, let me just make it so that this goes. Can I hide myself, chat? How do I hide myself? Close. Get this guy out of here. Show my camera. Nice. Confirm. Cool. There we go. Now you can't even see me. For some reason, you're just purple dots spinning, but that's fine.
Purple loading?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if it loads in. On my side, I see myself.
Oh, just try maybe turn it off, turn it back on really quick for me. Here, I'll also go here, and maybe I'll just, I'm going to hop out of the call and hop back in. Let's see here. For some reason I still have just nothing, which is weird. Can you hear me okay though? I'll go back to this. For a moment it's okay. Wait, am I muted now? I can't hear him for some reason. Lee, can you hear me? No.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, now I can. Sweet. Well, that's okay. You can just show the screen and we'll just chalk it up to I'm a bad streamer. That's totally fine. I need to restart Discord? Okay, I'll restart Discord. Okay, I'm going to restart Discord completely. One sec. Okay, I quit Discord. We reload Discord. Discord is a browser. Reloading solves 90% of everything. It is a pretty solid point. We just restart the whole thing is a good plan. Okay, nice. Oh, there we go. Nice. I can see you now. Sweet.
Okay.
Very cool. Yep. I'll go here. And we're there. Nice. Okay, well this is good. This is good. Sweet.
Okay. Progress.
Nice. All right, cool.
Where to begin?
Yeah.
Well,
first we should say hi. You should say hi to everybody.
Yeah, what's up, chat? It's first time caller here, first time on the show.
First time caller, first time long time listener.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have watched a lot of streams about Vim and Neovim, but I haven't actually done anything with it. I've just been on the outside watching for a decent amount of time now.
Nice. Well, welcome to the party. We have a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm excited. We're going to talk about, I think, a wide range of stuff, not just like how do you actually do things in Neovim, but also some maybe more philosophical style thoughts about everything, which will be good too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I don't know about you. I'm actually curious, like, what would you say is your number one primary programming language, and what was your editor progression over the years?
Yeah. So that's a little bit complicated because I don't know if I have one right now. I programmed in a lot of different languages professionally. So like when I was in school and my first internship, which I stayed at for a little bit after school, I was writing like Python and C stuff because we worked at like an embedded shop. So we had like a Python, basically like testing framework, test bed thing that I worked on where, cause like when I say we were sort of like full stack, I mean, we made the hardware that we shipped to people and then they would put those in a real machine and then we wrote the firmware and the software on top of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so like a project I work on was we were making this like industrial washer dryer. And so we needed to make sure that it would like turn off when if it started on fire. Right. So we like built a test bed that would simulate that signal to the thing, right? Like, oh, it's on fire. We probably should stop the gas now.
Yeah.
So I started there. That's actually where I got introduced to Neovim, which was when I was in college. It was like just when Neovim was first coming out. And then I worked at a company. I don't know if you know them, Epic Systems, not the Fortnite one. Everyone gets excited, but the medical health
Yep.
record one. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I actually was like, I did a lot of stuff to try and make Neovim work for me there just for fun, like on the side. But we had like a custom IDE thing and everything like this. So I used that a little bit while I was there. And was like writing a bunch of Neovim shenanigans at the same time, which was funny. And then after that, I wrote Python professionally for a while, which I used like PyCharm and Neovim while I was there. Mostly
Hmm.
PyCharm for just like debugging stuff, because we had this sick setup where if we had like an exception happen in prod, it like saved off that process, and you could connect remotely with the debugger, like to prod, figure out what was going on, integrated with Sentry, all the super cool stuff, and then you just be like, oh, yeah, we never thought these three things could happen at the same time. So let's just like fix that. And then, oh yeah, sure enough, that works great. And then then you'd fix it and you'd just say like, I'll link to the issue. It was awesome. But like, it did a lot of my
Uh,
development like in Neovim. And then since then, I've been using Neovim. For then, I wrote a lot of Go, Rust, OCaml, some TypeScript, believe it or not. And now, today I was writing PHP. So we've done the whole gambit of a lot of different languages. C, of course, as well. So yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Very well rounded.
yeah, a lot of different languages. So it's hard to say primary language, especially since I quit to do streaming full time and just do random shenanigans now. So it's like
Uh-huh.
week to week, it can be very different.
Well, that keeps it fun. It
It
keeps it
does, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
so
it's funny because
mhm. Go ahead.
I was reflecting on that myself and I was like, wait a minute. I haven't changed my editor setup in so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been literally probably 8 years, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Like I probably added some plugins like 5 years ago in VS or extensions in VS Code,
Yeah.
but I haven't really changed anything. I've just been writing code for
Yeah.
so long. So it's been fun to just step back and revisit everything.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. It is fun. It's like that's one of the things from my side that I like a lot about Neovim. It doesn't have to be, Neovim for people, but for
Mhm.
me, there's like a lot of aspects of it that are just fun. Like I don't think necessarily that it's inherently faster or better, right? But it's sort of the aspect of fun and bringing like a lot of, I don't know, you could say like joy of programming like into different aspects of your life, that I think is
Yeah.
good. And a lot of people have sort of said that to me about, oh, like Neovim brought a lot of the fun back into programming for me, like on my day-to-day
Totally.
stuff. And I have a lot of sort of philosophical musings, I guess, about why that is, which maybe we can get to as we're going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't
Cool.
know. So why don't you?
Well, I
You
guess
said you got some notes, so hit me up with. We can go
yeah.
wherever you want to go for this.
So maybe I'll give you first my journey of how I even got here
Yeah.
because I got to give you some kudos. So I literally had been watching streams, watching your stream, watching Prime, Melky,
Mm-hmm.
everybody who talks about NeoVim all the time. Like I watch a lot of the content.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna go to YouTube. I'm just gonna type in NeoVim tutorial and I'm just gonna pick something and I was gonna take my weekend and I was like, I'm just gonna learn some new stuff.
Nice.
And the one of the first videos I landed on was your quick start tutorial. It was
Yeah.
like the only NeoVim, by the way, great YouTube title.
Thank you.
F
Thank
this.
you.
Like
Thanks.
the only NeoVim video you need to watch.
Yeah.
And I watched that video. Also, great cinematic opening. So kudos for that. Um, I got started with the quick start repo
Yeah.
and pretty quickly felt like I was up and running with something that was productive.
Yeah.
And I also liked how you're like, hey, you should go do the tutor if you haven't done it. Go
Yep.
run through this and like get up to speed with some of the motions because I had like a base level understanding of Vim. I've obviously seen the memes over the years. I've seen a million times. I've wrote, slash s slash something,
Right. Yep.
but I just hadn't really wrote any Vim, like hadn't used the Vim motions myself.
Yep.
So your quick start helped me get up to speed pretty quickly, which was nice, and then start to understand a little bit more about the philosophy,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
So I made this note
Oh,
that
nice.
has it basically has all the things that as I started to go through it, I was like, wait, I'm gonna need to save off and remember these. From
Great.
really basic things to maybe some of the ones that were a little bit more fancy, like change up to letter. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was a nice one.
Yeah.
Um, and I also kind of quickly realized more philosophically, I think maybe you or Prime or somebody mentioned like you can do things in like 5 or 6 different ways. There isn't one way, so you
Yep.
kind of got to figure out which motion makes the most sense for you. So like these ones felt like some basics. I was trying to like move around React files, which was maybe a little different. So trying to figure out like how to select in the parentheses, how to
Yeah.
move around the files. Um, what I kind of realized
Mm-hmm.
when I started to get into copy pasting was that I had pretty much built it's not going to be the same thing, but I had
Yeah.
almost like built my own kind of mechanism for navigating around with text selection in VS Code. So like I don't know if that even makes sense,
No,
but
I get
like
what you're saying. Yeah.
so like let's say I'm in here. If I was wanting to pick something here, I'm using like Command Shift and just like jumping around with command arrows
Yep.
and then like just quickly flying through here. And like
Right.
it worked decently for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize now there's actually an even, potentially faster way depending on, what you want to do. So I thought that was interesting. Um, I think for me, I started out actually in like literally Notepad when I was learning to code.
Nice.
um,
Nice.
then like Eclipse, and I had a stint with C Sharp and Java, and when I was learning in college. Then moved to Sublime and never really looked back, and I was
Mm-hmm.
there for a really long time, and then have been in VS Code land since. So I kind of just left on VS Code and not really looked anywhere else. But
Yeah.
now getting into Quick Start, like one thing that seemed pretty obvious was there's been some quick development in the ecosystem. And I watched some videos where people were like, yeah, like one of the cons is plugins and
Mm-hmm.
fast changing ecosystem. But it seems like I'm entering at the right time. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like with lazy, it's a lot easier and there's less like there's a blessed path. Like it didn't feel like I had to go through some of that development of best
Yeah.
practices, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think there are a lot of really good plugins right now with people trying really hard not to break stuff all the time. I think part of the problem for people is like I know for a fact that you're experiencing this on the Vercel side of like if a new thing comes out, everyone's just like, "Oh, well, I have to ditch everything I've ever known and just try the new thing even if it
Totally.
like doesn't make any sense for them to try the new thing." You know, you're like, "No, like what
Yep.
you had was good. You don't need to change anything right now, right?" And so there's a lot of
Totally.
things where people are like, "Oh, everyone was using this thing a year ago and now I just saw someone online use this, so I have to switch everything right away, right?" So there's some aspect where I think that problem has been like it's not that it doesn't exist, but I think it's been overblown a little bit compared to like maybe the reality. And there's sort of a lot of problems of everyone like if all you're going to do is copy paste the thing in and not understand what's going on, then you're going to have a really bad
Mhm.
time when you try and copy paste in the new one and you like didn't understand the motivations of why those things are and stuff. And that's part of
Totally.
like what I was trying to do with Kickstart, right? Is sort of this idea of like can we give you like somewhat of a blessed path with a lot of plugins who are pretty confident are like pretty stable and going well, but also that the whole thing is just like commented out really well so you can understand what every single thing does, so you don't end up in this scenario where you're like, well, I copied 200 lines of code but none of it makes sense. Instead it's like I
Yeah.
copied 600 lines but 400 lines of it are comments. Right? And like and that's actually like a lot better. So I think, but I do think just like overall, Lua is like a much better and easier to understand language than VimScript. And I
Mhm.
think like there was a more tumultuous period where Neovim was adding a lot of features in terms of like Lua integration, where like it used to be, oh, you couldn't make like keymaps easily in Lua, and then we wrote a bunch of code and then you could make keymaps easily in Lua, right? So people had like a bunch of stuff like a weird mix of VimScript or Lua, or like couldn't use function callbacks or all this other stuff, right? And it was just a matter
Yeah.
of plumbing the depths of some like deep old C code inside of, because Neovim's a fork of
Yeah.
Vim, right? So it's like some of the code is really old, which is fine. It's not like it's bad. It just never was like thought that, oh, what we'll be able to do is directly pass a Lua reference callback directly into this part of the code, right? So like I spent, I don't even know, like a month, I think, probably doing a ton of stuff for auto commands, which they're basically like event listeners, if you haven't gotten that far, like inside of Neovim, and like rewriting
Yep.
a bunch of stuff to make it so that, oh, we can just pass Lua callbacks like directly into this, right? That it gets held like
Mhm.
at this level. Like that just took a while to do. So some of those things where like people were changing a lot of stuff and updating happened to be because, yeah, like Lua was relatively new compared to the existence of Neovim, right? And then
Mhm.
we got there eventually. So that's sort of, so I think it is kind of a nice spot, a nice time in terms of where we're at. Yeah.
So I totally agree. And like for me, Lua, it wasn't a big deal because GPT has been helpful just to
Yeah.
like, it obviously knows Vim really well and
Yep.
like actually it knows Lua well. So it has been helpful to just ask questions and understand things.
Yep.
Um, Also, shout out to Prime. I did the Vim Be Good thing, which I know he made in the stream, but it was just
Nice.
helpful. More little games to move through things.
Yep.
But yeah, I figured the first thing that could be interesting to talk about that
Yeah.
you were roasting me on was like the key remapping
Yeah.
journey thing. Like it was really interesting because right away, trying to force myself to do games or just movements with the
Mm-hmm.
Vim motions, moving around the keyboard, I realized that when I type, and I think it might be because I'm like Mac keyboard, Mac laptop pilled or
Yeah.
something for the last 10 years, but my hand placement is shifted to the right, my right hand placement. I think because I had to go to the arrow keys so much,
It was
maybe.
is your right index finger on J? Like that's the
Yep.
spot that it's supposed to be. That's good. Like it's not, your fingers aren't supposed to be on HJKL.
It's honestly when I'm typing and when
Yeah.
I'm actually a pretty fast typer and I don't think about it. And when I realize when I look down and when I notice where my hand position was, my index finger is actually over K,
Oh
which is
man, yeah.
probably
You're
not
you're like
which is
way
probably
over
not
there.
good.
Yeah, you're okay, you're even further. Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was okay to put my index finger on K, but trying to get it on H, I was really struggling. And
Yeah.
I thought that that was what you were supposed to do. Like I
Hmm.
thought index finger H, J, K, L, like that was where your finger placement needed to be until I was Googling around. So I remapped it
Yeah.
and I was doing it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I ran into Vim tree, which
Okay.
was included in the quick start.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think you mentioned this and people were saying it in the comments, but like everything in the ecosystem expects that that's how you move around. So I was
Exactly.
like, oh, I could just remap Vim tree to use different
Right.
movements. I was like, okay, I need to just take the L and just move on.
Yeah. My general, like, beyond just that sort of idea, because some people have like, alternate keyboard layouts and all this other stuff, is like you can type the letter H. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Like if I told you to type a sentence like "Why hello there," you could just type it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be like, "Oh my goodness, there was an H in the sentence. I couldn't hit the key." Right? And then so I generally think like there's sort of this cascading effects where if you start remapping sort of base core like parts of the language, you end up in the spot where you have a cascading thing of, oh, I'm gonna remap this, and then I have to remap this, and I have to and oh, I want to try this plugin, and now I have like 35 plugins where I'm remapping HJKL and all of them to be something else, and you end up in like a
Hmm.
really difficult spot. It's like you're a good typist. You can type H's. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't type the letter H. So instead, like leaning in to the Neovim way, right? I think is like a better strategy than sort of being like, oh, my hand placement is a little different. I can't type the letter H, right? Because this is the
Hmm.
similar problem that people get as they go further. Is like every plugin expects J and K to go up and down,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
if in your brain J and K don't mean up and down, they mean something else, you're gonna run into these difficulties like every single time you hit something. Instead of sort of being like, oh, okay, I'm in Neovim. Let's try like the Neovim sort of way of doing things, right? Like even if you open up Telescope, Control J and K
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
move you up and down, right?
Yep.
So it's sort of like you have this thing, or some people map that. I don't know if it's by default in insert mode. Maybe we don't have that as default in insert mode. But like if you go back to normal mode and you like press escape when you're inside there and you do J and K, it'll move
Mhm.
you up and down, right? So it's like, well, it's not
Mhm.
really J and K. You're not moving inside the buffer, right? We had to do a remap, and there's sort of this idea and mental model. And one of the thing I think that people sort of get confused about is like Neovim isn't about like memorizing a whole bunch of keyboard shortcuts, right? It's about learning
Mhm.
like the Vim language. So if you like scroll back up to the top of your like things that you were learning in your note of like important key maps,
Mhm.
right? And you see how you have like a few of them with C, right? Or like
Mhm.
D. Um, C just always means change, right? And so C can be combined with any other movement, right? So if you're thinking like, oh, I can actually do C, G, G and change to the start of the file, right? Like,
Mhm.
so there's sort of this idea that once you start learning the language, you can compose them together really easily instead of memorizing like 85,000 different combinations, right? You sort of start learning like, oh, I see. We have this concept of like a verb. So what I'm going to do, like C is change, D is delete, right? And then
Mhm.
I have this motion, like T is till and F is forward and W is word and right. And you sort of get, and so like, oh, I can combine those in any way that I want to do, right? Like
Mhm.
YW is yank word, right?
Mhm.
YIW is yank inside word. But so then you're saying, okay, well, what if I want to do something like delete inside a tag? I can just do DIT. You can test it out in one of your React files. It probably should work, right? It's like if you want to
Mhm.
delete something in a tag, I don't think you're in any tags like right there, but like if you scroll down towards the bottom, like line 30ish or so,
Mhm. Like HTML tag?
yeah, and you just go like DIT or CIT, and it should like from pretty much anywhere inside of there probably will work. It'll just delete inside the tag, right? Or you could do CIT and it will change inside the tag. You'll go directly into insert mode, right? And so now you're saying, oh, I can start composing these together. If I wanted to delete the whole tag, you could do DAT, which is delete around tag, right? And so you start to sort of be able to say,
Wow.
"Oh, I see." Like
Yeah, those are
this,
good ones.
this isn't actually about me memorizing 35,000 different XYZ combinations. It's that I learn T stands for tag, right? And then
Mhm.
all of the motions and the edits and everything else that I did before, I'm able to then leverage to continue doing it, right? And so that's sort of like I think that's
Mhm.
kind of the missing piece that when people get started, they're used to doing something like, oh, I memorized the like 45 different VS code, like, keyboard shortcuts. Oh, did I just turn my music on accident? How did I do that? VS code, like shortcuts, right? And then I want to use those and I'm going to leverage them, right? Well, but in Vim,
Mhm.
that's not what you're going to do. You're going to memorize verbs and motions similar to how you would do like a language, right? And then you're going to compose
Mhm.
them together, which is like a different mindset, I feel like.
Mhm. That
So
makes a ton of sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I think like it's a lot less overwhelming, I feel like, too. And it also makes sense
Mhm.
why you wouldn't want to remap like core parts of the language. Cause like for us, like as a Vimmer, right, like H kind of means like left, right? So it would be weird if when I'm talking to you, I just have a completely different definition of what the word like left means. Right? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You'd be like, oh, well, that's weird. And like plugins and code are a way of communicating things, right? Like defaults are a way of communicating things, right? So when I'm inside of
Mhm.
something, I'm inside of some plugin, the way that we communicate left is like H, right? Or up and down is J and K, right? And so
Mhm.
when you're speaking a language or thinking about it as a language, you don't end up doing some of the same like decisions that you would be if you were like, oh, I'm just gonna change all the key maps from VS Code style to IntelliJ style. Those are like very different things. And I like, does that make sense? You follow what I'm saying?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
I'm curious, like, we'll get to this in a minute, but while we're here, like, I wonder what you would do inside of a string
Yep.
literal. Like, what would be the command that you would pull for to change inside literal? Like, is there a word for that, a modifier for that?
Try CI double quotes. Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
Right, because I want to
So
change.
just whatever
Yeah,
whatever key you want, basically.
right. And so if you like escape and undo, you can do CI curly brace, right? And you'll change inside of that whole like curly brace situation that you're in.
Oh wow.
Right, so it's C is for change, I is for inside, A is for around, or like more or less. There's okay, you know what I'm saying. It's old. There's sometimes where it doesn't work exactly the way you think. You'll find those edges out as you're going, but like if you wanted to change
Yep.
around the braces, you would do CA to do it right, and that would like get rid of the braces, right? So if you had some like
Mhm.
other variable you wanted to do instead, then you would just type that in. So you get rid of the braces,
Mm.
it closes the parentheses, blah blah, right? So
Nice.
all of those are like right, and so you can do CI double quote, and there's some other like as you explore more, there's some other cool options with like tree sitter to do. I don't know if you use inside of VS Code like expand selection and stuff like that. There are some ways to do
Yeah.
like exactly the same
You know
idea.
what was
Yeah,
interesting?
yeah, go.
The thing that wasn't obvious to me until I just tried it
Yeah,
is I kind of just assumed that I needed to be in the string literal, like I needed to be in here to do change inside quote.
yeah.
But I think it is kind of powerful that let's say I'm like on 0
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like navigating up or down like this,
Yep.
I can still do change inside quote from here.
Yep.
Like that's actually super helpful.
Yeah. So some of them have somewhat, I would say, like forgiving concept of what like the closest one is, right? Or like what it means to be inside of one. And they generally
Mhm.
work like well to do inside of like a particular set of quotes or something. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah. And the other thing that you'll find out as you go is there's like other patterns that you'll see a lot, like DD deletes the line, YY yanks the
Yep.
line. So there's like this concept sometimes of like more or less a repeated key kind of says like do it like sort of in a way that makes sense for where you are,
Mhm.
right? So like DD, right? Delete the line, YY. It's sort of like make them line based. Not all of them are line based, right? But so there's sort of these patterns where you're like, oh, I know that Y means I'm going to yank something. I wonder what YY does, right? And there's like a bunch of these other ideas
Yeah.
that do the same thing.
What would you do to, because I know in VS Code sometimes
Yep.
I will like highlight I'll highlight some
Yep.
text,
Yep.
and if I want to move it down,
Yep.
do you usually DD and then paste?
Yeah, for this you could do something like if you're let's say you wanted to yank that whole like area, you could do if
Mhm.
your cursor's inside of it anywhere, so like get out of the visual selection just so
Mhm.
we don't mess anything up, and just to do like DAP is the easy one. That's delete around paragraph. And so now
Oh
like I
wow.
have it in my buffer so I can move wherever I want. I could go to the end of the file with like capital G and then I could just press P and then it will paste the paragraph back in. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you could do that for a bunch of different kinds of things, right? Like if you're inside of like a inside of a curly braces, right? You could do like DA curly braces and you would delete those, or like YA curly braces, right? And you could, and then now that's in your like paste buffer, right? So you can go ahead and like paste that
Mhm.
somewhere else, or you could just do like Y if you didn't want to delete it, right? You wanted to copy the same thing but change one line. You just go like
Mhm.
YAP to yank the paragraph, right? Instead of delete, and then you could paste
Oh,
that.
that's awesome.
Right, so it's all like
Yeah,
the
that's good
same.
stuff.
It's all the same kind of thing, right? Because you're like, oh, delete, change, right? All of them are. We're just learning to talk. We're learning to talk to our text editor, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's really, I feel like the big unlock there that well, now I'm like I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
listening to the music. It's like the third it's the stringing of modifiers.
Yep.
Because
Hmm.
what I was trying to do before, if I wanted to copy this,
Yep.
is I was going into visual mode,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
I was like going down lines,
Yep.
and then was when I'm right here, I was like, okay, now I need to press W, I guess, to like get that last
Yeah.
semicolon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
okay, now that I'm here, I can yank it. But
Hmm.
that's just so inefficient.
Right. There's a few other things that are like kind of helpful for this sort of thing if there's not an easy motion. So instead of pressing V, you press capital V. Then that's visual line mode, which is also pretty useful. So if you're pressing J now, like you'll just be selecting the whole line, right? Which is nice, because then if you press D, you'll delete like everything on the line, no matter where your cursor was to start with or anything like that. And then the other one that's kind of interesting is visual block mode, which is Control V, and that lets you kind of like select like a block of stuff, which is similar to some like multi-cursor shenanigans that people do. So if you, and then like you go,
oh yeah,
yeah,
I had a question about that actually.
Yeah.
How would you do yeah, multiple cursors? So like in VS Code, I would do like, I think it's Command D to select multiple of the same word. So like every place we say, do we have any, like wait?
Yep.
So I'm on wait.
Yep.
And I want to select all and then replace.
So like the easiest way is probably if you're just looking to replace something and you want to replace something with wait, I would do like %s for, so percent means I'm gonna do, oh, you're in visual mode, so press escape. I didn't know you were in visual mode. Yeah, okay, so now you can do %s. So this means substitute. Percent just means the whole file basically. So it's like substitute over the whole file, then do slash and type like wait : right? And then, or like if you needed to select ones that were only with wait, right? Or something like this, wait, and then slash again, and you just type the thing you want it to be. Like, I don't know. Yep. And then press enter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there are like some plugins that people use to like easily select those, or like to do the thing under your cursor. And there's some other ways to like automatically get the thing under your cursor into the selection, stuff like this. I tend to not like have this problem because I just do that. You can also do the selection, like if you only wanted to do like in the current, so if you do something like VAP right now, you'll basically like visual select this paragraph. If you do : and then S, you can substitute inside this paragraph, right? So it's like S and you say like class to, you want the extra stuff in front of it. That means you're doing it only over your selection. So you go back to, so do like VIP here or something like that to do the paragraph
on this.
Yeah, that's good. And now you do :
Okay.
so the little stuff it puts in front of it basically says do this from the start of my selection to the end of my selection.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so now if you do S and then slash and you want to change like class to, I don't know, something else, right? Then you can do that here too.
The better version, class, not class name.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. So that's sort of like, in general, for me, that's fast enough to do what I'm looking for. I know some people are like really locked in on the, I press Command D like 3 times and it does it. And there's some plugins, I'm sure, that people have like replicated that kind of stuff. In general, one thing that like is sort of my perspective about it is that as you start doing simple things like the Neovim way, you also unlock being able to do more complicated things the Neovim way, right? So if you never do substitutions like this, you'll never try doing something that has like 1 regex inside of it, right? And like, not suggesting you should use regex to solve all your problems, right? But like maybe let someone else write the regex to validate emails. That seems fine with me. But you like unlock, level 1 and level 2 of something by working through them. Which for some people is not interesting, and that's totally fine. But like for some people, it tickles their brain just the right way, I feel like. And then you're like, oh, okay, so I can actually select only things that like end with the word wait, but don't start with a space. And I want to switch all of those to like wait with a capital, right? And then you sort of like, oh, I just changed my file. And that might have been very difficult to solve with like multi-cursors, right? And it's like not really that big of a deal. Maybe it only takes you 5 minutes anyways to write it, But like the trade-off, I think, that is sometimes underappreciated, right, is that, oh, okay, I can actually like start leveling up how I do things the Neovim way, and then unlock some of the more complicated ones as we go. And yeah, someone mentioned in chat one thing that's pretty cool too is like, let's say you do a %s again over this whole file, and let's change like the word source, like src or something, like %s / source / like something, and then do /c, and then press enter. So now this is going to prompt you, do you want to replace this match of what you did with the new thing? And if you press Y, it will do it, and if you press N, it won't, right? And so you can like
Oh,
So if you have something that's like, oh, I'm 90% sure this is going to match all of them, and occasionally doesn't match everything, right? I can actually do the
mhm.
multi-cursor move, but I'm going to like manually
Nice.
switch them throughout the file, right? Which is like, you can do find and replace in VS Code, similar idea to a bunch of other things, right? But it's sort of like, it's all sort of in the same system, right? You like, oh, I learned how to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this
yeah.
part of the system. I can do the next thing. Because all of those work with all of Neovim's like regexes and everything, right? So it's still,
Mhm.
you can match against, white space or not white space or any, and you sort of build up your vocabulary.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think so. I'm trying to think of what else I had in here. How do you recommend doing auto import?
Yeah. So you should have auto import if you're like, so like try and complete something that has like something that would need to get auto imported. I don't know.
We could do like
Yeah. So
image.
are you, and you're using like the, yeah, so you're using Kickstart. Did you know if you changed
Okay,
anything
that
from
works.
Kickstart? Yeah, yeah, yep. So it should
Yep.
work.
So I
Yeah.
the one that I noticed the other day was I refactored something out into a new file,
Mm-hmm.
like a subcomponent,
Yep.
and then it like I had this defined and it was like image in another
Yep.
component
Mm-hmm.
basically. And I didn't have an import for image in another component in the
Yep.
file.
Yep.
And for some reason there wasn't like a TS error. It wasn't
Oh, that's
blowing
weird.
up. I don't know, maybe that was just a TS
Yep.
server L or something. I don't know. But that's good
Yeah.
to see that it should just work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like my experience with TS server is like mid at best. For some reason, the people who
Yeah.
made LSP have decided not to spend a lot of time making LSP work great for TypeScript outside of their editor. I'm not naming any company names in particular, but the people who made TypeScript and LSP and the primary editor for said language, for some reason, aren't investing in making sure to be a proper open source citizen. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Um, but yeah, so
Just drinking the tea.
yeah, so the other thing you could do is like if you have that image one like available to you, right? And you
Yep.
should be able to do like a code action in most languages, which is similar to like a quick fix in VS Code. Um so like if you just write out image or whatever like the component is that you wanted to use but don't actually like import it, right?
Mhm.
And like you should be able to do something like I don't remember what it is offhand in Kickstart, what the shortcut is for, but I think it's probably
Like
something like,
repop the dialogue.
yeah, it's something like
Specific.
space like CA maybe, I don't know, or we could check inside of there. Okay, so probably it's confused because you haven't closed it. So like just close the image tag and stuff. Um and then maybe it will know where you could import this from. So if you try and do the like back in normal mode space CA again, I would expect it to be like, oh, it doesn't have that as an option. That's pretty weird. Lots of LSPs have like a code action to say, hey, like I know that you have three things that could be image, maybe,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So that's surprising to me that TS server doesn't have that. There are a few like TypeScript like helper plugins that people use, like TypeScript tools or something
Mhm.
like this, that
Mhm.
some of them I think literally like take some of the stuff that's inside of VS Code and like install it as a package and then like run that against it because it's not inside of the LSP. But yeah, so in general, like if I'm writing like Rust or Go or some of these other languages, like
Mhm.
and I have this situation where it knows that I have a module or like a package or a file called this thing. Even PHP server has this because I was just doing it today, and I run code actions on that like unknown item. It'll
Mhm.
say, "Hey, do you want to import this?" and or like it'll list the possible imports, and you can do that. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's like it's sometimes in between some of those. I'm not sure why it doesn't do that. So then like if you're here, you can usually do like control Y, I think is the one that we have. Like control Y
Uh-huh.
or enter maybe is what you mapped it to. But if you do that, then it'll
Yeah,
add the auto import, which is a little bit annoying, but it's whatever.
I saw I think it was in your quick start video you mentioned like, okay, so you can go between these with control N and P.
Yep.
And I think your recommendation was keep control Y
As
for
accept.
image
Yeah.
because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like, because more things in the ecosystem do that. And then, because I think the reason that suggestion makes sense, and correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, but if I do telescope, then it's the same with control and P and control Y to open. No?
We might just have enter on that one. I'm not sure. But so like the main reason that I suggest that for like normal insert mode like stuff is just I find it confusing when one key can do a bunch of random stuff depending on like the current context of my editor, which like maybe it's not
Mhm.
done providing suggestions, or like I expect to press enter and it goes to a new line, but like just as I was about to do that, like my AI autocomplete thing adds a suggestion, like 50 milliseconds after everything else. So now instead of doing a new
Yep.
line, I like accepted a completion from someone else and now I'm on a new, like, so for me, it
Totally.
always seems a little bit like, okay, I can press keys pretty easily. Like we can type pretty fast. Like that's really not like that big of a deal. I would rather have control Y be like, hey, I accept the current thing under my cursor, and that's all it does in insert mode, right? Is like it always only accepts what's in my autocomplete rather than like,
Mhm.
oh, sometimes it makes a new line and sometimes it doesn't. Like I find it convenient
Mhm.
that enter always makes a new line instead of sometimes selecting what might be in my autocomplete list.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's sort of
Nice.
like my thought on that. That's not a like hard and fast rule. There's lots of people who like having enter. That's just like my personal opinion, and like a lot of my
Mhm.
Neovim like philosophy is around like I like you should make it for you. So if it works good for you, then you should do the you should do the way that you like
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try it. We'll see how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get used to it, and then we'll modify things as see fit. I mean, Quickstart has been super helpful to. I haven't had to modify too much. I was gonna
Nice.
mention just a couple of the things I've changed.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of this was super helpful to have set up.
Mm-hmm.
The nerd font thing, I didn't actually know if my font already supported this, but I looked it up and we're cooking, so I turned that
Nice.
on, which is super nice.
Yep.
Relative line numbers,
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Yep.
That's so nice. Even though I'm not, a pro at, 20J or whatever, um,
Yeah.
like I'll get there, but
Yeah.
it's still nice just to start thinking in that way.
Yep. Totally.
Um, let's see what else. These might be like this might be cursed, but
That's good.
I
That's good. I like it. It doesn't even matter if it's cursed. If you're saying it might be cursed, that's what we like to hear for your Neovim config. That's the point.
basically what I would do is I would be like, let's say I'm here and I want to make a new file and folder that doesn't exist. So I want
Mm-hmm.
like capital E app testing
Yep.
page.tsx.
Oh, nice.
Like
Very cool.
that's super helpful
Yep.
for me. So that worked pretty well. And then, okay, I'm in here, export. By the way, like one thing I've already noticed, it feels
Yeah.
like I'm on a heroin drip with like Ghosty plus Neovim plus Tailwind server is
Yeah.
uh like let's say I do I don't know, we'll just do some.
Yeah.
Oh, also I added the auto close, which is
Oh, nice.
super
Yeah.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Um like let's say, and if there's an auto close for HTML tags, I might consider adding that as well.
Yeah, there should be one. The one I think a lot of people use. Oh, I thought like auto pairs would automatically do that for you. There are some other ones, but Emmet I think is one of the really popular ones for doing
Yeah.
this kind of thing. But I'm not really like a JSX wizard, so I'm the wrong guy to ask.
One of the things I noticed right
Yeah.
away is like my experience using Tailwind, LSP, and VS Code is a nightmare. Like I feel like I start typing flex
Yeah.
and like half of the time it shows up, half of the time it doesn't. So the fact that it's just like instant
Yeah.
is so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
It's kind of funny because like the like Tailwind LSP is literally like one of the LSPs that like caused us It was basically like the performance test bed one because it sends so many completions. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
we like vendored in a new like JSON parsing library to like make it faster because of course, LSP has to be in JSON instead of like some
Oh
other
yeah.
format that could be faster and better to parse or like incrementally parse or like do but it's super funny that you say that. I'm very glad that that's your experience because there was a lot of work done to try and make that like feel fast and smooth. So that's good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Nice.
Um, the other one thing I did change, well, so far I've only added a couple plugins. I added Vim Fugitive
Nice.
because what's funny is like changing all of this also made me like think deeply about my Git workflow.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've always been a sucker for the built-in like
Mm-hmm.
source control of VS Code, and that's been a thing that has kept me here because I liked clicking and like looking through the diffs.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just need to figure out the right way to get this set up. But I already started because like what I would do in here is Command Shift P and like check out to
Mm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm realizing now with Git Fugitive, it was like :G checkout
Yeah.
an area or whatever, and like
Right.
that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, lazy Git
Yeah.
seems to be really freaking good.
Yeah. A lot
So
of people really like it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
it seems nice. I'm gonna try that out and see how it goes. But
Nice.
actually, I don't know what the right way to do that is. Um, so the only other thing I'm gonna try to find is like a nice highlighted diff viewer like this with colors. I think that would be
Yeah, you want
helpful.
probably diff view and Vim. Really good plugin.
Okay, let
Yeah.
me save that for later. Diff view.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of that plugin.
Um, what else we got here? Um, I added Avante.
Yeah, I was
I don't
gonna
know if that's
ask
how you say it.
what your thoughts were on that. That's on my to-do list to try later this week.
So my thought was like, let me just go whole hog into this thing versus setting up Copilot
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen some of the Vim folks talk about how like with a good LSP, like maybe you don't need Copilot as much, which I can definitely understand the thinking for that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've been I have it set up for leader. I think it's leader AA,
Mm-hmm.
and I can say like make this component fetch data with async using server components and await calling api.vercel.app/blogs and display a list of blogs using Tailwind.
Nice.
This is going to use Anthropic Claude,
Very
and it
cool.
spits out some stuff, and then I can use brackets to like go up to the code block,
Mm-hmm.
and then A to apply. It gives
Nice.
me a nice diff, and I'm
Yep.
like, okay, like this seems fine. And then I think this is inspired by some Git workflows, but like change ours, change theirs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do okay, change theirs,
Yep.
and like, yeah, this
Nice.
seems somewhat accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Like
familiar
it's
with the feeling. Yep.
I'm familiar with some of these words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been exploring with that, which seems to be kind of interesting, kind of helpful.
Yeah.
And just like toggle it in, toggle it off
Yep.
seems decent.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like I'm getting used to toggling the tree. I like the Neovim philosophy here of like I definitely have been over dependent on the file tree in VS Code because it's
Mm-hmm.
just there.
Yep.
It's like in your
Yeah.
face, it's available. And the I guess I'm curious your workflow for navigating files. Do you use the tree not tree sitter, um, fuzzy telescope? I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember the name of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So like leader SF and then go here.
I pretty much only I don't use a tree at all. The only thing that I use sort of like a file tree, it's really not a file tree, but like a browser, like a file directory viewer thing is just to make and delete files basically, and to like move files around. But otherwise
Mhm.
I don't really use one. So I pretty much always just use Telescope or I use Harpoon from Prime. Which
Mhm.
which I like for if I have like 3 or 4 files that I'm editing like 90% of the time, then I use that maybe, and then I move around the rest of the project with Telescope. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. I never navigate with a tree, basically. Like um and which is like fine, some people like that, but I think generally speaking, like it's pretty slow, like, and you end up like clicking
Mhm.
through a bunch of folders and other stuff like that, and it just, for me it's like really painful. But
Totally. Yeah,
yeah,
I can definitely see that.
yeah, or like I use
Get
different,
signs was a good one.
yeah, I also use different stuff like from Telescope too. Like someone was mentioning in chat, like I think like live grep is really good. So there's like a
Mhm.
way that you can, grep over everything and you search like for a particular string. So I use quite a few of the different Telescope like finders to move around,
Mhm.
which chat would be mad if I wasn't using Telescope. So that's fine too. They would make fun
By
of
the
me.
way,
Yeah.
one of the things you might consider adding, I don't know how much of your audience is like
Yeah.
in the JSTS ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
but you might considering adding a default for Telescope
Yeah.
to the config in
Yeah.
Quickstart to ignore node modules.
It
Because that
should.
was one of the things I
Yeah, it should do that if you're in a Git repo with it ignored. Like it does respect git
interesting.
ignore most, like as long as you have like a like ripgrep or like fd or something installed that can be the
Huh?
underlying finder, like it will ignore git stuff. So if you're in, like, if you're just like testing it out, it's a little confusing because sometimes people just like, I'll make a quick new directory and I'll like try something, and then they're not in a git repo, it doesn't ignore anything. But like usually
Interesting.
it should ignore like git git ignored stuff.
Got it.
Yep.
Then I can probably remove these because I added them because I thought it was like, oh, this is necessary, but
Yeah.
no, if it's already in the git ignore.
Yeah. It should like skip that for you, generally speaking. Yeah.
Nice. Sick. Okay. What else here? Telescope was great. I'm liking that.
Cool.
Um, Lazy, it seems to make sense for like the plugins.
Yep.
This like Mason LSP setup,
Yep.
based on a couple of the videos I've watched, it sounds like I watched like 5 other videos where people basically installed this themselves and were like, hey, this is the way.
Yeah.
So it's nice that this was already all set up. I didn't have to mess with it.
Yeah.
Um, I added let's see. I don't even know if all of these are necessary. TS server for sure.
Yep.
Tailwind. I'm assuming these are
Yeah.
also helpful because
Yeah,
I'm
those are good. Yeah.
primarily web dev.
Yeah.
Um, so that was all good.
I'm glad to see like Tailwind and everything just works like right like that is always good to see
Oh,
from someone
totally.
who like actually knows what they're doing instead of me. So
Yeah, it works great.
yeah,
I mean,
cool.
everything has been
Yeah.
smooth so far. One
Nice.
thing that I still haven't figured out, and this is probably just the like shitification of the JS ecosystem, but figuring out like prettier
Yeah.
is tough.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yep.
I think I tried it out in a project where I had my prettier config in package JSON,
Mm-hmm.
which it might not recognize that versus
Mm.
a dot prettier RC
Yeah.
file. Um, but I do have it to a point, at least right now, where like if I add a bunch of garbage in here
Mm-hmm.
and I do save, it should. Well, this is one of the things I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
because in VS Code when I save, it will nuke all of the white space
Yeah.
between like the open paren and the div tag.
Is Prettier actually running right now? My only thought would be it might not be running because you have it set up for like just JavaScript, and it says you're in like a TypeScript React file. So I don't know if you need to in
Mm,
your formatters by FT. Like I'd have to go check again for conform. This is one of the things like in web dev land that I can never figure out. Like is there's like
uh-huh.
80 different file types and like 90. Oh, I only run ESLint on like my JavaScript. I don't run, so like you could try putting like a new line there and like just copying basically and then putting TypeScript React, because it like you can see on the bottom right of your status line, it tells you what the file type is. Like on the right one it says you're in Lua, right, and then on the left one it
Mhm,
says TypeScript React. So my thought would be it's probably not running your formatters like inside of there, if that makes sense.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. So the best way probably to duplicate this, would you like yank line
Yep.
and then go down, or
Yeah, I
and
would just do
then
YYP and then yeah, and then I would just
oh,
do like
okay, interesting.
CW for change word.
Mhm. TypeScript, React.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I would try, and then just like based on the way you have it set up, you'd have to restart your Neovim on the left, but like you'd so just quit out of
With
everything.
with and this was a question.
Yeah.
What should I do in this situation with the buffer? Because I
So
think
yep.
basically it's saying like I have unsaved changes.
Yeah. If you want to write everything and quit instead of just doing like QA, you can do like WQA, like so colon
Uh-huh.
WQA. That'll write and quit everything. So like if you're like, yeah, I know that I had some changes, I forgot to save, I didn't care, like then it will just write everything and then quit.
hmm So you open up a new repo, you open up Neovim. The way you navigate to the file, not through a tree, you're doing what command to go open up the file you know that you
Uh,
need?
I would do like my find files one, which should be like space SF, I think, for Kickstart for you. And then I would just
Got
do
it.
like testing, and then that would get me to
Yep.
there. Yeah. And
Love
now
it.
we can try like
Okay.
hitting save in here and see if it auto. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Prettier doesn't delete all that white space. I have no idea. This is like one of those things where I'm like, dude, I don't know. I always have to like, do I need to install Prettier D like locally? Is it globally available? Is like, does Prettier not know? I really don't know about JavaScript land things. Like, that is
Yeah.
one of the things that's kind of like that I don't know what the solve is like on the Neovim side
Neither
is
do
that
I.
like a bunch of people just are like, well, my like 35 like web dev plugins I have in VS Code, one of them magically does the prettier thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then I don't know what happens after that. So that's sort of like that's what it seems like it would be, but I don't really know why prettier wouldn't format that file.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I'll figure it out
yeah,
later.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, what else we got in here? I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's
some
pretty
autocomplete and
much
stuff, and
everything.
that's pretty much it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the default theme is amazing. I
Oh,
love this
nice. Yeah,
theme.
yeah, yeah.
So good.
Very cool. Yeah,
And
Folke has built a lot of awesome stuff for Neovim, which is great.
oh, by the way, one thing, like maybe this is me being completely smooth brain, but I
Yep.
had to reread this paragraph like 3 times because I read it was like, here's some plugins that I've included. Um, it was this one. It was like
Yeah.
these comments only work if you've downloaded the repo, and for some
Yeah.
reason, like I like forgot where I was at in the world, and I was like, have I downloaded the repo?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
can I just uncomment these and they'll
Yeah.
work? And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah.
And I uncommented them and it worked. I was like, oh yeah, I did clone the repo.
Yeah.
I think because in my head, I guess I wasn't thinking people would copy paste the Lua file, but I
Right.
was like, sure, clone the repo, like let's go.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. Yeah, because there's like there's an aspect of it where it's like it's a single file. It just works if you do that, so it's like totally fine to just copy paste the repo or like just the init Lua, right? And you're like, I don't care about the other stuff. I don't want any of those other things. It's totally fine. And then also like, but there's the other option of like you clone it, which is the way that I show in the video because I think it's like a little bit easier for people to do it that way. But yeah, I think that's
Yep.
pretty good. Mm-hmm.
What are debug, lint, and the get signs keymaps like? Do you recommend turning those on? Because like auto pairs, indenting, like NeoTree, those all were wins for me.
Yeah, so
What about the
all of them
others?
are super like highly commented again, and they won't make sense unless you like read through them, I think. So like the debug
Okay.
one does like a debugger. So if you do a lot of debugging like inside of your editor, you can do that. I would guess most of yours is probably more through like Chrome Dev Tools or something like that. Like you're probably
Totally.
doing more stuff like in the browser. So it probably is not as big of like a deal. The lint one sets up some other options for like linting. It's just like, but like if
hmm
everything is so this it's pretty much like basically the problem is in TypeScript land for some reason there's 35 different linters, right? So like you need to have like a separate linter besides your LSP. But like if you're writing like
Biome save
Go,
us.
Rust, right, other stuff like this, then you just have like all of the lints come through the LSP, right? So instead of having like all the
Yeah.
different tools run separately, they all run through your LSP. So like for a lot of people, there's no reason to set up lint, right? Because they're just doing something where like it always works just fine. Yeah.
hmm That
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, and like the get signs one just basically like at if you wanted to do something like move between like changed hunks or different stuff like
Mm.
that, it just adds a bunch of extra keymaps. So some of them it's not necessarily that they're like good or bad or whatever. It's just literally like they distract from the core part of what like we're trying to do with Kickstart, right? Which is like, hey,
Mhm.
you can get this whole thing working. It's like not that many lines of code, and you can have a really like productive Neovim setup without this sort of like meme of it being 100 hours of Neovim before you can like write a new file.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
uh,
Totally.
we really don't want that to be like the feeling you get when you first install Kickstart, or that there's like 200 lines setting up, you know, your shortcuts for moving between changed hunks in your file via Git. Like, I mean, that's cool, but it's like very auxiliary to the main point of like we can actually get moving inside of Neovim. You know what I mean? Like there's sort of
Mhm.
this general problem where I feel like if there's too many things, you miss the general idea of what we're trying to accomplish.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So let's say I'm in insert mode and
Yep.
I'm typing await here,
Yep.
and now I want to go to the end of the line to
Yep.
delete that stupid in parenthesis.
Yep.
In VS Code, what I would do I would just do like command right, and I would go to
Yep.
the end of the line, and then I would
Yep.
delete it. But since I can only do that now, only go to the end of the line if I go back to normal mode.
Yep.
So is that how you would typically do that? You would like exit, insert, go to the end of the line, and then come back, or?
Yeah, so I would exit out to like normal mode. I have escape
Uh-huh.
on my thumb, so like it's pretty
Mm.
easy to hit. A lot of people like on Mac will remap caps lock to escape, so that it's like a lot
Mm.
easier to hit. Big would recommend as like a
That's a good idea.
you never type caps lock on purpose, so it's like why do you even why
True.
do you even have it?
It's true.
And I think like Carabiner or whatever also has a thing where if you like hold it down, you can make it so that it turns into like caps lock. I don't really know, but I've just changed it to be escape, generally speaking. Um, and then what I would probably do is I would have done like F and then right parenthesis from where I was, and then I would
Mm.
have pressed like X to delete one of them. So like F and right parenthesis and then X. But
Oh,
the
wrong.
other parenthesis, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yep,
Yeah. F. Okay.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. That
Or
makes sense.
one of the like my favorites things. Like I'm sure every editor has this one. I think we have it by default in Neo in this as like right bracket and D. So if you do that one right now, that should move you to the
Right
next.
bracket and D.
Like the square bracket one.
Oh,
Sorry.
bracket.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this will work.
Oh,
Hopefully.
right bracket and D.
Is it, or maybe it's not? I thought it was. I thought the default one was like the square bracket and then D, but the one of the two, the right one, I don't know. Like the one you would use for a list. Is it not? Is it not the? It might not be in by default. I actually don't know.
Mm.
Okay. Well, I should add that if it's not
Meaning
added.
like you're saying this, right?
But just lowercase d though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. It just takes you to the end of the file. Oh, that's weird. It's
Uh-huh.
not default. It's default in like a new enough version of Neovim. But okay, so here I'll send you something. I'll send you let me go to what would be a good way to do this? Well, okay, actually what you can just try and do I think will work. That's pretty easy too is when you're inside of you can do I got to get the exact. I don't remember exactly which one it is. Oh, actually, this is a perfect example. We should do something. I got a better idea. Okay, if you're do space sh, I think this will search for help. Nice. Okay, so now search for diagnostic. Yeah, and so then inside of here, there's a bunch of diagnostic things. So if you press enter inside of here, this will tell you, hey, here's a bunch of different diagnostics things you can do. So diagnostics are like whenever you get the squigglies, right?
Mm.
So this is like there's a whole API of different things that you can do inside of Neovim with the diagnostics, right? So the thing that
Mm.
I would check for right now is like there should be something like diagnostic. I think it's go to. So you could look for um diagnostic go to. So I would go back and do like the search again, the same like space sh. You really want to get fast with like thinking, oh, I want to navigate something inside of here. So I just do like diagnostic and like next.
This?
Yeah, and so it says, okay, so we probably want to do like the go to next one, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
it's, yep. Oh, so Command P, or yep, there you go, and enter. So
Okay.
it says, oh, I'm surprised that. Oh, what? Can you type :version and tell me what Neovim version you're on? Okay, cool. That's fine. I don't remember what. Did we release one since 10.1? Oh no, because okay, so that's the latest. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm on the nightly version, as always,
Mm.
so that's fine. So this is fine though. So this tells you move to the next diagnostic, right? So vim.diagnostic.go to next. So if we go back into your TypeScript file,
And what's the best way to like close
you can
help?
just
Is it
do :q to quit out of this file. Yep. So if you
oh,
do :lua, right? So this will let you run a Lua thing with lowercase. Sorry. Yep. And then
okay.
space. And this should actually have some sort of like autocomplete. So if you do like vim dot diagnostic and you press like tab, it should probably like complete for this, I think. Yeah. And then you can do
Nice.
dot and then do go, and then you could just type go to underscore like next, right? And then you want to call this function, so with parentheses. Yeah, nice.
Okay.
And then press enter. So that takes you, that'll jump you to the next diagnostic. So I'm a huge fan of this. You could set this to whatever like key map you wanted it to be. The default one coming in the next version of NVim is like this bracket D for like the right bracket, right square brace, whatever you want to call it, is like to go to
Mm-hmm.
the next one, and then the left bracket one is to go to the previous one, and D for diagnostic, right? So it's like, since diagnostics are now like built in as a concept, those are getting added as like default key maps. But you could put it as whatever one you want. That's one that I love because I love hopping around inside of the file immediately to the next thing that I had broken. So if you like,
Yeah.
if you went back to where we like undo a few times till where we had that extra right, yeah, this one
Mm-hmm.
here, right? And you're like at the beginning of this line. Like in my mind, I just see that there's an error. So I would do that like right bracket D, which you don't have, but you could just run the same Lua one that you had before. You know what I mean?
So I don't know if maybe I was typing it wrong or maybe I don't know, I was in the wrong mode or something, but it seems like I do have
Oh,
right bracket
nice.
D.
Very cool.
Maybe
Sweet.
maybe I was doing it accidentally capitalized, but yeah, it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like
Could be. Could be.
oh
Yep.
shit.
Oh, yeah. Like right bracket and capital D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's
Nice.
super
Yeah.
helpful.
So that's what I would
Because
do.
then I
Cause,
do it again.
right.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yep. So that's like in my brain, what I see is like, oh, red squiggly. I can move to red squiggly by
Yep.
pressing bracket D. I don't even have to think about, oh, are there any intermediate, parentheses, or if it's on a new line, right? So it's like, oh, I always can move to the next one like super easily.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then so if you're here and you're like, okay, blog has an any type, but fetch blogs needs to be typed.
Yep.
Like, I guess what I'm doing is probably the best thing is I do 12K
Yep.
and then would you is there a faster way to move over or would you just literally like L over to here
So
and
if I
append?
was if I was gonna give advice to someone starting out, I would just be like, don't press HJKL very much. Like
Okay.
I would do like F and T way more. Like I use F and T a lot. And I find it really helpful because most of the time for programming, like you want to move to like a brace or something, right? Or to a parenthesis, right? So I would just do F and then right parenthesis, right? And like that's gonna move me to the end of there. Or I would do something like E or W, right? So like in general, I think you want to try and not. This is part of the reason too, where people are like, oh, I have to remap HJKL because like I press them a lot, and I'm like, well, first off, no, because of the language thing, but like also no, because you should be using other movements more. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like you want to actually be doing more, like more stuff instead.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's helpful.
Yeah.
What else is on my list? I don't know. I've asked you like a million
No,
questions.
it's
Thanks for
great.
being so
Lots of
patient with
lots of
me.
fun questions. I like it. Yeah.
This is a good one. Okay, so let's say I'm ready to get started.
Yeah.
I'm ready to like run my app.
Yep.
Um, how would you start a terminal instance to run a server? Is this where Tmux comes into play because you want to have multiple windows?
Yeah, so I actually don't use Tmux. Not because of like
Ooh.
a philosophical, like I think it's bad. Just I never got started with it, and I have other things that I like. So I usually just do something like either colon v new or colon like tab new or something. I open something up within Neovim usually. Like my
Okay.
workflow is basically like I have one Neovim running sort of like per project, basically, right? So you could do
Mhm.
like v new and that'll make a new split with a new window inside of it. And then I would run
Oh.
colon terminal, so like colon terminal, and that starts a terminal inside of Neovim. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and so then when I'm inside of here, I would do like, I mean, I wouldn't do npm run dev because obviously like I'm not writing JavaScript, but like if I were to, you could do, npm run dev, right? This kind of thing here, and then like it'll start.
Yep.
And inside of Kickstart, we have a key map where you can press escape twice, and that will exit you out of terminal mode. So you should be able to press like escape twice and you move back to normal mode. And then you can move between the
Okay.
windows. I don't remember if we did a shortcut where you can do Control H. Like you might already have that. Yep.
Yep.
So this is like once again, right? You're like, oh, HAKL. This is the movements. I move the same way here.
Yep.
Blah blah. Right. So and then I would keep that. I would keep that like running. You know what I mean? Like in
Yep.
here, and then that can be resized. Like I probably with your mouse. Probably you have the setup right now where you could literally just like grab in between them and move them. Like it's just fine, you know what I mean? So if you wanted to do that, or
Mhm.
you could move it to be on the bottom, or you could put it in a new tab, or even if you like switch to a different buffer, it's still the terminal's still running in the background. So like that's my workflow that I like for it. Like I think Tmux can do just as easily like this idea. Um, there are some goofy things with the terminal emulator, like what you just saw. That actually some of those are getting fixed in NVIM 11, which is nice. But like, so I generally do that kind of idea. I just like having it in there. The nice thing is like, let's say you make a change and like save again or whatever, and it causes it to reload, or you have a
Uh-huh.
bunch of other stuff. Like it should hopefully like redraw. I'm assuming. Um, I guess I don't really know what it's going to do. Anyways, but like because it's just a Neovim buffer, like if I have a normal thing that's running, I can like navigate with Neovim motions, right? So if I want to like
Mhm.
go inside that buffer and I do like slash source right inside of the terminal, I can actually like move around and navigate to those, which is pretty nice, right? Because like it's normal mode or like SRC was what I was like.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
can press N and I can move between them, and I find that like pretty helpful because all of the same
Mhm.
movements that I do, if I want to like yank the current paragraph, I can just YAP and I'll yap this whole thing. Right. So it's like, oh, I can
Mhm.
easily get stuff out of my terminal. So for me, those are sort of like a nice, like it's a nice trade-off for me that, okay, I can use my Neovim movements. I can do other stuff. You can even control the terminal buffer from Neovim if you want to get like really crazy where you're like writing stuff that sends things or reads stuff back or all these other sort of items. But um like you don't always have to use that or anything. So that's for me
Well,
what I usually do. And then I usually have basically like, because I use a tiling window manager, like I have different like desktops for different projects because of course I have like 35 different projects because I'm a streamer and never finish anything. Um so like I'll just leave like the Neovim running for like my PHP project on one desktop, and then if I don't touch it for a
mhm.
week, that's fine. I don't turn my desktop off for like a month. You know what I mean? So it's like I just leave it running. I don't
Mhm.
like a lot of the stuff that people use for Tmux, like I just use my desktop for and leave it running forever. Which like
Mhm.
maybe whatever. Maybe that's not the most optimal option, but like it works great for me. I don't really care. I've never really felt like I was missing a bunch of like the multiplexer features from Tmux. And then if I
Mhm.
wanted to like run something in a completely different project, I might just make a new tab like in my terminal. Like for Ghosty, I think it's like Command T or something like that will open up a new tab in Ghosty.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or maybe it's like Command Shift T. I don't know. I don't know what it is, or I don't know what the defaults are. Yeah, so it's like, so now I
Minty.
just have like another. If I wanted to open a separate project or something like this, or some like somewhat related project, I might do something like that. So I do a lot of my like
Mhm.
quote unquote multiplexing. I do that via just like my terminal or my like window manager, not through something like Tmux. But I think Tmux is like still good.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned like, yap
Yep.
to get this whole paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
what would you do to get just up to the red text? It's like it's not YA period.
Yeah, I would just do like Y4J because I
Mm.
have relative line numbers on. So you would just say like, oh, I know I can see right there. It says that I have 4 lines, so I do Y4J. That's like why I would have relative line numbers on. If I'm not gonna do like relative movements with J, then I wouldn't. Then I would just say like probably you don't really need them, right? Because the only like their benefit is that you can easily do like like a counted version of some like line wise movement or something. That's where I think they have a win.
Yeah.
Because like not always that there's
Do
some like syntactic or white space like differentiator between stuff. Yeah.
do some people like disable movement keys while trying to learn? Because I
Yeah.
like your philosophy here. It's like if I was doing V and then J,
Yep.
like I should just maybe ban that.
Yeah. I have done there's like a few plugins. I think there's one called like hard mode or something like that, and there's a few other ones that do that. When I was the thing I definitely recommend to people, especially if you keep on accidentally reaching over to hit arrow keys, is like the arrow keys should just instead of doing the arrow key motion should just remind you of what letter to press. Right? So when you press like when you press left, it should just tell you
Uh-huh.
like it should just be a Lua function that prints, "Hey, dummy, press H instead." And then like, "Oh, right. I don't actually want it." Right? Like I think that one's actually
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I'm curious. Like, does it then piss you off when you use the browser and you can't use Neovim motions or like Vim
Um
motions? Because then I get used to, I don't know, if I'm in here, I'm moving around with the arrow keys, I'm like selecting stuff the same way that I would be doing in my VS Code
yeah.
workflow. Um,
Yeah,
like, does it reach a point where you're like, damn, I want Vim everywhere now?
there like I do have Vimium installed like in my browser, which is like it recreates a bunch of the keybinds, but I don't really use very many of them because I just don't care about how I move in the browser because who cares? I'm scrolling up and down on Twitter, that's all I do, or watch a YouTube video. Like I just don't need to like I'm not
Same.
spending 40 hours like trying to optimize like my 40 hours to get faster and better and more effortless in my browser
Yep.
like I am in the way that I'm writing code. So like for me, I just don't really care. It's like, "Oh no, I had to touch the mouse." Like, "Yeah, of course I touched the mouse. I don't care. I'm in the browser. I'm not trying to optimize my browser usage. If anything, if I wanted to be productive, I should delete my browser and get back to my editor and write some more code." You know what I mean? Like I don't I don't need to maximize my productivity on and in my browser. Like it just doesn't feel like that big of a deal for me. But I know there are like some people who do that, and like I use it for like a few things like Vimium and other stuff, but I'm not really like a serious Vimium user. Like chat usually yells at me and I'm like, I don't care. Too bad.
It's fun. Yeah, it's really funny because it's to me it's almost like a clash of worlds
Yeah.
because I would say the front end community is so ingrained in the browser. I mean, of course, I had to spend a ton of time here, like in dev tools, like
Yep.
looking at the DOM, like
Yep.
checking out elements. So like I'm using the mouse for
Right.
sure to
Yeah.
do a bunch
Yep.
of these things. So I can see why like almost the default workflow
Mhm.
tries to put you in that pit of mouse workflow
Right. Mhm.
versus if you're doing more back-end work, you're working in languages Go, Rust,
Mhm.
OCaml mentioned, like all these things,
Exactly.
you're gonna stay in the terminal.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
it's it's fun for me to see how the other half lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And yeah, it's like it makes sense that you're gonna use your mouse. And like I use my mouse sometimes in Vim. Like I don't care. I actually it's funny. It's mostly just to make chat mad. But I made like a right click pop up menu where it can like go to definition and go back and stuff like inside Vim. Just like mostly for the memes. But like I'm not like morally opposed to using the mouse. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not morally opposed to that as an option. Like it seems fine. For me, it was more like I was having a lot of this was also before I switched to like a more ergo keyboard, but I was like having a lot of wrist pain and other stuff like
Uh-huh.
from coding and like not reaching for the mouse and not moving my hand to like go to arrow keys and like doing a lot of weird like contortions to get the right control shift mappings and stuff like this. Like
Yep.
I don't have wrist pain anymore, so like for me it seems like okay, well it's working for me. Like some people never have wrist pain and they like sit upside down, crouched on the couch, and type like back like this or something. And I'm like, how are you not broken? I don't understand really how that's like working okay for you. I'm like, so maybe I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too weak. I don't know. That's fine. That's okay. I'll just fix the problem by getting a different equipment. It's fine, So for me though, like when I'm doing a lot of coding and stuff, if I don't have to touch the mouse, I'd prefer not to for like most of the time, just for my wrists and for my arms and stuff. I just feel better when I'm done. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
So I don't know. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much everything I had listed
Nice.
to ask you
Great
about.
questions, by the way. Really good
There's some
questions.
good stuff here. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been fun. I have a lot of appreciation for the work you're doing on Neovim. Like
Yeah.
this project seems amazing, and I'm
Nice.
impressed by how fast I was able to like get productive, even though I'm slow with Vim motions. Like if I
Happy to
already
hear
knew
that.
Vim motions, I would probably be like flying right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And like,
So
I think even if you're like, oh, it's just a fun like experience and I'm going to do something else now, I think like a lot of the cool Vim motions that you're like, oh, that was really cool, like delete in tag or change in tag, like the Vim mode in VS Code has all of those. Like I think like they're
mhm,
pretty nice anyways, for as long as we're
mhm.
still editing text, which like some people think is like only 2 more weeks, I guess, and like we're just gonna have the AIs edit all of our text 2 weeks from now. But as long as we're editing text, like a lot of those are nice. I think because it's sort of like I get typing is not the bottleneck, although that's not true. I think for some people typing is the bottleneck because they're such bad typists. But like let's leave the like 5 words per minute typists alone. Um, like I think if you my general philosophy about this is I think like if you can make something like effortless for you, then you don't have to think about it, which is good. That leaves more space in my brain to like stay focused on the actual problem that I'm trying to solve instead of getting distracted with like, oops, I accidentally deleted like one too many divs, or oh dang it, I got the wrong class name thing, and like that's actually like
Yep.
those compound, those make you like have a worse time developing and do legitimately like stop you from getting to the next thing faster, right? It's not literally just the physical mechanical motion of typing, but this. And so like I think Vim motions are a nice way, a nice like language to learn, even if you're like, oh, it was fun to do like the Neovim terminal thing and I'm going to go back to VS Code now. Like the Vim mode in a lot of editors will have all of those motions to help you do stuff like quickly and easily.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming
Well,
and chatting. It was fun. I'm glad I'm
yeah.
glad you had a fun time with Neovim and had the experience of it went pretty well. I feel like what we need to
Uh-huh.
do is we need to get you up next to like the I don't know if you know on like Neovim.io we have a quote from Bram, like the original creator of Vim, right?
Uh-huh.
Like and the impressions for Neovim, his is a nice looking website. That's one thing Neovim did right. So I feel like we need to put you next to that one, in the same vein of like, but you're actually happy with like how it works. There's some I think like irony there, this distinction of of
Yeah, it's like I installed it, added the Tailwind LSP, and it just worked.
nice.
Like
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
really good to hear. Cool. Well, thanks, Lee. It was fun. It was fun getting to chat with you. For one, like face to face, quote unquote,
For
face to
sure.
face. Yeah.
For sure.
So
We should do it again sometime.
yeah, that sounds good.
I can you can join my stream and I can watch you write Tailwind code like you were doing earlier, which was
Oh,
really fun.
nice. Yeah, I've picked up a few tricks, mostly just to make Adam angry. In case you weren't following that earlier,
Yeah.
I was giving him a really hard time about Tailwind. And then he rewrote it anyways. Even after I gave him a hard time, he just rewrote it all while we were flying.
Classic.
But we got him back really good because we tricked him into thinking we all got lost at the airport while he was at the hotel, and he was like sweating in the airport. And then the best part was after all of it, I had my buddy who flew in with me, who Adam's never met. I just had him walk into our hotel room, and Adam was so confused. He was sitting in there, and
He's
then
like, wait a
just a
minute.
random person walked in and said it was his room. So I got him back. I got him back for rewriting everything in Tailwind without my permission. That'll teach him. That'll teach him.
That's hilarious. He's like, am I being punked right now?
Yeah, well, he literally when my friend Sam walked through the door, we were right around the corner. We could hear him, and you just hear Adam go, That was his response. It was so good. Oh man. So, anyways, thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
Can you send some places for people to like follow you and you know what you're up to in the chat so we can do that, and then yeah, thanks for hanging with us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
LeeRob.io if you want to follow me on the socials. I post about React, TypeScript. Ooh, nasty,
Nice.
disgusting.
Nice.
That's mostly what I work with.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks, Lee. I'll catch you later.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. All right, chat. There you go. Just a little Neovim chit-chatting today, huh? How was that? I gotta go switch which monitor is doing things. One sec. Nice. We're back. Cool. Let me do this. All right. PHP Bingo again. We're back to PHP Bingo. We had a quick detour with Lee talking about Neovim. Shilling, of course. It's a good day. It's a good day to shill. It's a good day to shill. We're back to PHP Bingo, though. It's always a good day to shill Neovim, you know? All right, we're back. All right, so let's see how far we can get on this. I've got like maybe 30 more minutes, and then I got to go work on PHP Bingo again. Oh, yeah. Just want to know exactly why Symfony seems to have more features. I don't know. I don't know anything about Symfony. I like Laravel. And I like the Laravel peeps. So I don't know. That's it for me. Okay, so what do we need to do now, chat? We need to make these actually do something. Right? Like when we click them, they should probably do something, don't you think? Like they need to change to active. Should we do that in Alpine Land or should we do that in like Blade Land? Because I feel like we need to keep the state probably on server anyways, right? So that we can know what they said they completed. I mean, it's cool that we can click them and nothing happens. It looks like something's going to happen, but nothing happens. So I feel like we should click it. I feel like we should click it and then probably do something with Livewire for it, right? But I don't know what we want to do. Alpine instead of HTMX. Yeah. Sounds like a thing for front end, but if you want to complicate, then back end. Well, I need to know what the state of what they've clicked is, right? You know what I'm saying, chat? Like, I need to know whether they've clicked it or not. I feel like we want to do it with... I think we need to, right? Did I do something wrong? Whoops. Mid deploy. So I'm thinking probably what we do instead. How do you like Ghosty? I like it a lot so far. Is we probably need to do something like this, right? So we can make we'll make a new component here. Yeah. Similar idea, John. Yep. Let's go ahead and make, instead of counter, we probably want to do this like a game. Oh, do I not even have Livewire installed? Whoops. I thought I already had it installed for this. I guess I didn't. I probably need to do that. Now I can do this. Nice. Okay. I thought that I already had that, so that makes sense. Game.php. So basically we need to have something like LSP restart. That's fine. We need to do something like we have probably, I don't know, public array cells, something like this, right? And then I can do something like cells. This cells, this kind of idea, right? But this probably needs to hold like whether these are active or not, right? We want to do something like this. Because we're going to have something like decrement, increment, this, right? So we need to do something like public function click cell. And this probably needs like in index, right? And then we would go like this. Oops. This cells index active. Oops. Oops, not like this. There we go. Something along these lines, right? Which FP stack choice should I consider for dealing with parsing HTML? I don't know. So we want to do something like this, right? There's a way with like PHP doc to say like what this is, right? Where you'd say like at array int model cell, like yeah, like this, right? Models cell. It's probably not what we want to do. I don't know that we want to make a model for this, right? I don't know. This is where I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how some of these, you know, like what you would do for this. Is it not construct? What am I supposed to do for this? Unexpected name? I don't even remember what construct is. How do I use construct, chat? Live bars don't use mount. Okay, interesting. Public function. Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. And then I can go something like public int index public bool active. Like this, right? So then this would be like this. And then I think I can do this. For those who know Laravel and Go, do you recommend learning Go on side? Even Laravel covers all I need. I always recommend learning new things. That seems great. Why not learn new things? You know? Why not learn new things? Okay, so if I have this, I don't know. This is a component. Can render take in? I think we need to go back and we need to look at Kickstart some more. Let's go through here. This doesn't take any values to start. Wiring the view, blah, blah, increment, decrement. Yeah. So what would we do? What would we do here? What would we do here? We would go back to like Blade. This is it. So this is the game. So we go to game. Go to game. This is really where we should have our bingo one. So it doesn't really make sense to put it on bingo. It should be on the game one, I think. Oh, actually, can't I go like this? I take this. We go here. We put this here. We go here like this. Beep, boop, boop. And then we go here and we say X game cells. But can't I just do this? Beep. Boo, deep. But this probably won't work either, right? Because it's like component game X game X games. Oh, it's Livewire games. You mean why not learn VS Sure too? Sure. If you think it's going to be helpful, then why not? Okay, so that's not how I include the component. Right. I knew that. I knew that already. I knew that that wasn't going to work. We need to create a template layout. No, we already did the layout part. But how do I include component? Okay, so I make a component. Livewire struggling today. Where's my internet? Oh, whoops. We got to change back to... There we go. Pringo. Livewire, create post. Make Livewire, create post. We have a game component. Yep. Livewire, create post. Inline components. Don't want to do that one. I don't really like that one. Livewire stubs. Setting properties. Livewire, create post. Title. Yep, that part's good. Sharing additional data. Okay. Adding wire key for each loop. Nice. We need to do that as well. For looping an array is running Livewire, you may do key, which passes it like this. Okay. Finding inputs. Calling actions. Livewire. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Livewire. Game. Something like this. Nice. We're in, chat. We're in. Build almost everything so soon. Lift a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think Go is Go's fine in a lot of ways. Okay, cool. So this works. We have our cells. But this doesn't make sense because how do I, when I render this, how do I put... Cells just get set, I guess. Okay. So then I want to do something like a bingo button. How can I make it so that this click, label for your wire model, can I do this? Can I say like wire click is, and then can I go click cell? That doesn't make sense. Loop index? That can't be right. Oh, it's because I don't have this on. I turned it off. I turned off notifications. Turned off notifications for the interview, but they were playing anyways. The song stopped because people are talking and their theme song should be playing. What if I just set this to be 1? And then can I just do echo click cell? And let's say we go back to here and I click this. Does this work? Okay, that doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Wire click. Is this not what I need to do? Does this click cell not happen? Seems like it should be getting an error though. Does it not? Isn't it wire click? Wire click. Oh, we're focused. But does this not get bubbled up? I really want to watch this. All of them get uploaded eventually. Yeah. Telescope is awesome. Great name. If you want to watch them right away, you can become a member or a sub on here, or they'll get uploaded Teach Daily. Is there any possible way that there's a massive obfuscated backdoor in Rust? Probably. Yeah, why not? This doesn't seem to work though, does it? I don't know. I thought maybe this would work. It doesn't seem like it is though. Okay, so let's try something else. Maybe echo just doesn't work at all. Maybe I should probably just check like echo hi. Maybe this is swallowing this. How do I log stuff then? We'll ask Grug. Grug? How to log stuff from PHP to console in Laravel. They should be, Maniac. Yeah, if they're not, then I scuffed something up. Doesn't seem like that's working. Log isn't outputting anything. Okay, in config logging. Okay, nice. We have a log channel stack. Log channel stack. I don't think I want to do that. I want to do like console. Standard error. That's the one I probably want. Oh yeah, we can just do DD. True. Good point. Let's just do DD instead. What am I doing? Why am I writing logging? We just DD it. Thank you. Good point. What am I thinking? Doesn't seem like it's doing anything though. I did import log, yeah. Okay, let's try this though. DD, yeah. Okay. Okay, nice. So that part's good. Livewire game. So game goes here. And we get this bad boy going right here. Livewire game cells. So then I was thinking I could do wire click here, but maybe this doesn't work. Maybe this doesn't seem to do anything. Maybe it needs a key. That could be. I need to do some sort of key so it knows what thing to click. I wonder if we can check. I don't really know. I'm still new at this. You know what I'm saying, chat? I've got an idea. We go like this. We delete this completely. We just go like this. Div wire click is click cell 1. And we say hello world. We should have a little hello world here. Nice. Look at that. We click it, we print it. We click it, we print it. Okay, nice. So then why doesn't that work for these guys? I feel like... Oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, can I do that? Click cell 1? Oh, that makes sense. Hey, what if I go to bingo button? I wasn't thinking. We're probably not... There's nothing here to even click. So here I need to do wire click. And you're saying I can go like this? Oops. Wire click. I can go like this. Is click cell 1.
Properly tail recursive.
Like this.
Yes. OCaml is actually my favorite.
I don't think this works. I don't think that works. Nice. Nice. Okay, so this needs a key. I need to say like key, but probably doesn't have a key. I don't know if this works. Do I need to put this inside of here like this? Key. It says I don't have a key. Yeah, I know, dog. Probably changes the index, so it's the same name. You got to do goofy stuff like this if you're gonna do names, right? So we say key is, and then I can do this. Really, loop is a thing. I can go loop index. That's a thing. Whoops. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be a thing. How can I get the index of this? Adding wire key to for each loops. Oh, you know what else we need to do? These cells. Where we have bingo. Was his name-o. Bingo. Bingo cells. We want to do something like... Can I do map? This doesn't have map on it, does it?
Oh,
dang. Hey, thanks, Roasted. And Miranda. For each cells. Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. We'll come back to this later then. For cells as index text like this. Aha. This still does 1 for everything. Oh, that's probably... Did I just do DD1 inside of that thing? No, that can't be right. Bingo. What did I call this again? Bingo cells. We said button or game. DD index. Okay. So what I thought was going to happen here is when we have this, these would be different numbers. But it doesn't seem like they're different numbers, does it? So we go back to game, blade, PHP. I'm still learning, chat. I'm still learning. Is this not what I'm supposed to do? Why would this not put each of these as index? Bingo button. Be sure to learn about the... Oh, nice. Welcome. Is this not... Maybe this isn't legal. Maybe this doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. You know what I mean? Wire click. Let me see a little bit more about this. How am I supposed to use this if I want to pass something more... I get wire click, but how would I pass like a parameter to this? You know what I'm saying? Dispatch custom event, that makes sense. The other option would be each button should be a livewire component. Try index. Like inside of here. Like I would go index. Like this kind of idea. Unable to resolve dependency required in index in class app livewire game. Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, because this is already a this is already... Wait, can't I do this? I can do the same shenanigans I did last time here. 0. Oh, it was some goofy strings thing. We can do this. We can do this strategy. Okay, I do need to learn. I need to learn the rules for that. I need to learn all the rules. I need to learn all the rules. Okay. All right, so now what we need to do, chat. Index equals some var to pass dynamic value to blade component. Okay, yep. It was probably because I was doing the double braces, huh? All right, so this is fine. So now what we need to do is, this part's just wrong because we don't have this right. We need to go back to where we have X bingo button. This is actually really more like, it's not really text. It's like option. Or we can say cell. We can call this cell. We go back to here. This is going to break. We can go to bingo button. We go here, and then it's saying we go cell, text. Okay, so that's good. Now we go to choices, or we went to call, what did we call this again? Buttons, options, app. I don't even remember. Cell, bingo cells. This is bad naming, chat. Bad naming. So we want to do something like, how do I do like a map? Map? Oh, there's array map. That's what we can do. Yep. Array map, function, choice like this. Choice. And we'll go cell, boom, choice like this. Return this. It is... No, I say type in string given. Oh, right. Oh, I'm stupid, dude. What am I doing? Is there array map with a T item? Callback run for each. Let's just do choice. We'll say cells for int I is 0. Nope, we're gonna do just a 25. Cells, new cell I will just do self choices. Yeah, I. Return cells. Oh. So freaking stupid, dude. Okay. Index, not supported in Livewire. Property type not supported in Livewire for property. Anything for first and last letter active false. Array map if you need key. Okay, next time we'll use that instead. We do need to look at some of these helpers. Actually, this can just be cell index. And then we don't even need to do this either. Property type not supported in Livewire for property. It's just monster cat chill. You error encounter every day. What field are you working? What? Okay, so what am I doing wrong here? Property type not supported in Livewire for property. X app layout. Basically, you're trying to serialize an object. It doesn't do all of this first on the server before doing it because I thought bingo button. I don't show the cell anywhere, so I guess I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Is there something that I need to do to make this like serializable? I really don't know. I'm just making classes because it's PHP. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm still learning. Can't I pass a list of classes? Instead of cell text? Really? Why would this? That doesn't seem like it would make sense. That doesn't seem like it would make any sense though. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't work.
Made it properly.
Oh, Sam, hey, thank you.
Like,
Yes.
OCaml is actually my.
Oh, do I
favorite.
need to put props somewhere on one of these? Is it because I'm not using props? See, I'm still reading about all of this. It doesn't matter if we use 1 or not. But why? What is it? It doesn't matter. We can use 0 or 1. It doesn't make any difference. Like that's not the point at all. App layouts. Like, okay, so it says here, right? But we're in Bingo Blade. I have cells. I pass cells here. Return cells. Is this not? Am I not? I think I'm doing this right. Yeah. DD cells. Right? Okay, this looks good. Okay, so I'm trying this in game, I guess, right? Cells, this cells. Maybe I don't need to do. Oh, so this is not okay. It doesn't like this because I'm saying that this is its property here. Does it need to be class? No. What's the easiest way to group a set of data as a type? I just want to say I have these fields. You know what I mean? What are we doing? What I want to do is I want to click. Well, this doesn't work right now. Basically, I have a list of cells. They're the bingo cells. I want to click on one, and then I want it to set it to active or not active, right? Something like this. I don't really know what the... I mean, maybe that's not a good idea. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to figure out how that would work. We've made active index property and just changed that. That doesn't sound like what I want to do. Maybe what would be better. Okay, let's actually take a step back. What if we give all of our cells a UUID? What's the easiest UUID here? Let's actually just go back. Let's hodl for a sec. UUID in PHP. Is this the one people are using these days? I'm willing to buy it, but it seems weird. There's no Laravel UUID. Whoops. Cells within cells interlinked. It's built-in stir UUID. Nice. So let's actually change this to be stir, and we'll say UUID. We'll just say ID, actually. ID. Okay. We go back to here. We go stir UUID. Probably illuminate, I'm assuming. Nice. Because this is better. We should give them all unique IDs. Later, we'll make this, to do these, go in a database. Okay. We'll put them in a database. We'll give them real IDs. Doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying, chat? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We'll give them all unique IDs. So then we can switch when one's active, not active, etc. Way easier. So this is ID. Property type not supported for this. Property this, but still not understand. That's right. That's prime. I still don't know what that means. Like, we'll just ask Grug really quick. Problem is that you're setting an array of cell classes on a public property and clone. Ah, okay. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I'm with you. So let's go to game. Can what if I just don't want to do this? I just say, whoops, private. Okay, cool. That's good. How do I change what gets passed to this? How do I make this take a variable? Components. We want to say like mount or something? Passing quantity through mount. Okay, so I go public function mount. And I say cells. I say array. And then I say this cells equals cells. Whoops. Like this, I think. I thought that this would print this though still, but we're not getting anything. Export app, debug app. Is it app debug? I don't remember which one it is. I'll just put both. It's like nothing's happening when I click these. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's happening when I click them. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Because what I thought was going to happen, bingo button. Here we go. We're playing this game. Then we have cells. Cell. bingo. Or I have button. Why did I call it bingo button? That's kind of stupid, isn't it? Cell ID. I feel like, what am I not understanding? It seems like something invalid or unexpected token. Okay, nice. That's good. That's good. This needs to have, does this need to have like this? Oh, that's really annoying. That's really annoying. There's no strategy that I can do this differently. What happens if I do this? Index. Oh, I mean ID. Whoops. Unable to resolve dependency. I thought, so this is not how I can do it. Keep raising on the same line. Intelligence format. Okay, where do I put that, Carf? We're basically calling JavaScript inside of WireClick. Right, but it just seems really annoying that there's no way for me to say, like, hey, this is the cell thing. You know what I mean? Like, why is this not... Why isn't there a way for me to easily write the PHP syntax or like put the variable? I don't know how to do it. Maybe there is. I don't know. Actions. It's just HTML. Right. I would have assumed that it could sanitize for me. You know what I'm saying? Can I just say cell? And then I say right here, I say cell. Oh yeah, that's fine. That part doesn't bother me to say that I need to do that. Argument 1, string must be type cell. I think I have a conform going. Do you mean like this? Does this not look like you can just go here? Or like, why can I not just do this, right? Like, this sure looks like this is, or is this because it's JavaScript? That's the part I don't really get, right? Cell is not defined. Makes sense. Event.target value is JS. Oh, it's just cheating. Okay. Okay. This probably will say, hey, I don't know how to load this in, right? Unresolvable dependency. String ID in class app cell. Cell is getting passed in as a property. So the other option then would be, instead of making game, we should make components for each of the cells, right? Like, each cell should have one and it should update itself. Like, is that the right way to solve this? I want to click one. I want to make unlimited of them active. But yeah, right now we're just going to do one. Because it's bingo. You're going to play bingo. You need to get 5 in a row. You turn them off and on. A bunch of other stuff, right? You'd have an array of activities. It wouldn't have Lyra per cell. I'd just use positional ID. You would have an array of active IDs on the game components. Wire, click, click cell, loop, index. Okay. Well, I'm just thinking, chat. I thought I was using simple properties. Gonna be serialized in a JSON sent over the wire. Right. Well, right now I'm not doing any of them as simple JSON, right? So it's like, I just wanted to send back click cell string ID, right? Then I want to go like, then I have to do this here, cell ID like this. I just don't like this part. That's the part that I don't like. I don't like that I need to put another quote inside of here. Like I always have to know that it's a quote. I guess it's like, okay, you could have a number, then you don't want to put the number. It seems like strings should be formatted so that they're safe. So that part I don't really get. Okay, Carb. Yeah, I'll try that out. Okay, so then I would do something like oh, interesting. Array search. There's an array for a given value returns the first corresponding one. It does it return an index or the item? First corresponding key. Got it. Undefined array key 0. This is not what array search does. Interesting. Oh, that's cool. Like this? I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, I see. I get what it's doing. I'm just surprised strings don't render in as the string itself. Yeah, but none of them work here. Undefined key or 0. We don't have anything inside of here. How do we not have anything inside the cells? So I clearly don't understand the life cycle of like a component or something. Like does this not stick around? It's like refreshed on every Livewire thing. Unless it's public properties. Okay. How can I make a like data type that is like serializable for this? Or it's like I should just do the whole thing in the database? I'm trying to get my feel for how this would work. So public properties, collect this cell's first where ID. Ooh, nice. Okay, Christian, thank you. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But then I just would not. So I just would. It's okay. I just don't really like keeping whether something's active. Like I wanted to like encapsulate the cell into its own little thing. Do bang music, I think. Or no, is it not bang song? Music? Oh, it is. Bang song. Yeah. Just makes it more difficult. Right, but it like matches how I would think of writing like PHP in terms of like how it would match writing like object-oriented stuff, right? Wireable? Okay. Uh, 70% instance will result in error to customer isn't supported, which makes sense. However, you can solve this by implementing the Wireable interface and adding to Livewire from Livewire. These methods tell it how to do that. Synthesizers, interesting. No, I don't know what that is. I was just going to look at that one next. Yeah, right. You're treating everything into the front end, so like not a good idea. Demonstrate how neglecting authorized validate properties can induce security holes following update post. Find or fail this ID. Right, so this is like someone could just type in like the ID manually and then they would get that, right? Click at the cell. What's supposed to happen? It's supposed to turn active. We're gonna play bingo, where you need to like keep track of all the ones that are clicked and everything like this. Lights up. Well, there's gonna be other stuff that needs to happen on the back end though. So like we're gonna do stuff where we're like checking to see how many people said this one has happened or not, or other things like this. And this is where you can update ID. Emergency update, find or fail, return. Yep. Authorized input, lock the property from updates. Oh, cool. That's nice. And or we can lock ID. Also very cool. Nice. That's also cool. Yep, that makes sense. You can't change this. Very good. I'm not super worried about this for this one. Like, there's nothing to win by doing stupid stuff on it, but yeah. Live or automatic lock and ensure the ID isn't changed so you're safe from these kind of attacks. Very cool. This can expose things about application names, class names. Yep, that makes sense, right? So don't do anything you don't want other people to see, which is fine. Okay, cool. So it's a synthesizer. Okay. Let's see if I can come to TwitchCon. Ooh, nice. I'm going to be there, I'm pretty sure, Lithium. That's the plan. Livewire supports model binding through actions. Yeah, we might need to make a model, maybe, and stuff. Between requests, Livewire might serialize in the JSON object like the following. Yep. Now consider a more advanced example where title is a string, a bool, instead of a plain object. Okay. Now you've seen outside in. Here's the actual source code. Interesting. I'm not sure. I wasn't originally planning on storing it in the database, but I feel like we're going to need to. I think I should just lean into that idea more. And instead we should do it all in the database. You have a model for sale, you'll get everything you want, basically. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. We need to do this like a completely different way. I'm thinking instead, let's do something like, we need to do something where we basically have like, we'll have some table, and it will have, you know, I don't want to call it options. We'll just call it primeisms. I don't know what we'll call them. Right? This is going to have like ID and text, probably something like this. That's probably all. Just something like this, right? Then we need to have like a table where we have like games, right? Which will have ID. Probably just an ID. Maybe like a started at, something like this, right? Then we need to have something like table. We already have table users. This is fine. Then we'll have basically like table, and this is like game user info or something like this. I don't really know, right? We have an ID for each one. We have a game ID, we have a user ID, and we have like the game's gonna be multiplayer. Yep. Twitch chat's gonna be able to play. Well, we need like kind of like a game user. We'll call this one like state. I don't really want to store everything that's ever happened. I just want to store their current state. If we're in, we need like their board, which is like which is probably just like list of IDs, something like this. And then we need, I guess, active list of IDs, something like this. Amount of work you all add to your plate by avoiding listers is mind-boggling. True, Lithium. Okay, that was another package. Well, we need other players to know, because like we're gonna need moderators to like say whether someone wins or not. At least that's kind of what I'm thinking. I just feel like it's kind of a fun project. I just want to play with this a little bit anyways. So it's fine, chat. I don't really like love this necessarily. It's kind of annoying. But like this will give you the list of IDs and this will give you the list of active ones. So then we'll just upsert this back in every time. Table each ID and active prop. That seems pretty annoying. But we could do like table like user, I don't know, active, something. It's not the right name, right? So we'd have like game ID, user ID, cell user cell selected or something like this. This is still not the right name. And this would be like, let's just call this, we need something that's not called a primeism. We can just call it a square. I don't know. Square ID. And then we want like active, right? Which is just going to be like a bool. Like this way we could get all of how many people voted for the square like really easily, which is nice. Like, so that's pretty good. We could have a different one for like table user board, something like this, right? ID, game ID, user ID, and board. Which would be like a list of square IDs. Well, they're all going to have different boards. Like, that's how bingo works. Like, bingo is everybody gets a different board and you're marking them down, right? So it's like, but instead of numbers, we're going to have squares like prime read something else. And why not have board ID on square? Why not have board ID on square? I'm saying it's different order. Well, we just might not have this one. Like maybe we just do it with this instead. user board, gotcha. But the ID for the cell Prime does X is the same in every player's game. Yes, right. So we could do something like, you know, our 100 people. Did 100 people do this one? They can actually, yes, right. Say, but there's going to be more than 25 options, right? So ideally we have like 100 or something like this, right? Because I think it would be funny to have way more than 25, so people have like quite different boards. Squares are all predefined, exactly. Yes. The idea was instead of an ID list on user board, we just have board column in user cell selected. Yeah, but you need to know, I think this way is way better because you want to do something like this. It is a little bit annoying, or I guess you could say, you're saying you could go like this, like index, and then like this. Will they be completely random, or you can actually check a board by its ID? No, it would be like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what you're asking. Because then we could just, you're saying we just get rid of this. And we can get all of them sort by index. And like user ID or something like this, right? Like, can I pull up that board by pulling up its ID? Well, in this one, you would have been able to, but maybe we just don't do that as a strategy. Maybe we don't make a board ID. This one probably lets us get all the info we want. We would just, like, so we would just do, you know, like, select star from user cell selected, where user ID, you know, is, you know, teach DV, it doesn't really matter. And game ID is, you know, 1 or something like this. Order by index. Right. So then this would give us all of our squares, and we could serialize these back, right? And then that's how we would get a board. This is like get a board, right? And then we would also have like get current count, right? So we could do like select star from user cell selected, where game ID is 1 and square ID is, you know, 1 2 3 4 5. Then we could like count them, right? Count active, count star, something like this. But this isn't really what I would do, but something along these lines. I know what you're saying, PH Gaming. Yeah. So this would give us all, like, we can get all of like all of this info. So we always put active, true or false. Do you need ID for, because primary key can be, yeah, we can just make it so we drop this ID is fine too. Like, we can just make it that each of these need to be unique and do it like a compound key is fine. Active is whether they've like clicked it or not. Like, have they said that they found this one? Yeah. Like, have they said, yep, that's my bingo play. I think that one happened. Okay, let's just do this way. Yeah, we can say, or we could call this like game cells. Or maybe we could say like in-game cells, but we could probably shorten that just to like in cells. That's probably like the one that makes the most sense for Twitch chat. Gamer incels, yeah. Yeah, we could say selected is fine. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go work on my boot course for a while today. I'm gonna find someone to raid.
Wow. Hey. Fancy meeting you here at the end of the video. Just go ahead, give it a smash. You know, wow, the like button. You can make fun of me in the comments for that one. I don't even care because you made it to the end of this video. Thanks, everybody. See ya.